complicated sometimes. Okay. I have Mohsen here. Mohsen is co-host today with us. He's another our community leader here.
Nice to meet you.
Hello. Hello, Sadi. Nice to meet you. Hello, Say.
Hey, man.
How are you?
All good. All good.
Great.
I finished half of my weekend. Looking forward for the other part of that.
How long we can start the meeting?
I believe in like 4 or 5 minutes we can start a meeting, and then as usual, I'll talk about Azure 020, Microsoft Community, and Microsoft Learn, and after that, I'll hand it over to Sally, so
Okay,
she
great.
can share her screen. I can post these things to the chat too, so everyone has access to our links. Okay, let me start the recording. Oh, you already start the recording, right, Olsen?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, perfect. So yeah, hello, welcome everyone. Session number 2 of Azure Zero to Hero in 2024. We have Sally Dabbah today, and she's going to present us a very cool feature in regarding Microsoft Fabric. So we are going to learn a lot from her today. Let me switch to this screen. Yeah, perfect. So who we are Microsoft Learn community. And if you like to be part of Microsoft community and Microsoft Learn community, please join us and other communities actually. And we are going to share a lot of updates, new things, and also we have open conversation in Microsoft Learn Hub and Tech community. So you are going to learn a lot, and also we have different surprises for each community. So don't hesitate to join to one of these Microsoft Learn community. Also, we have a code of conduct. Please make sure that you are following this code of conduct, and we love to get feedback from you. And also, if you have any questions, you can write it in the chat, or after the solid presentation, you can use a raise hand of the Microsoft Teams, and we can open your mic so you can ask your questions easily. Beside that, if you haven't watched our first session of Azure Zero to Hero in 2024, please check our YouTube channel. So we shared a lot of new updates and also our plan for 2024. So I'm not going to take too much of the time because our guest today, our speaker today, Solly, is going to share a lot of good stuff with us. So, Solly, the stage is yours, please, and we will join.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today. My name is Sally. I'm a data engineer in the Fast Track team in Microsoft. We mainly help Microsoft customers to build demos and deliver the best solutions, uh, adopting Azure solutions with us. We help them also to find best practices and establish a workflow through Azure. So in today's session, I'm gonna quickly share my screen. In today's session, I'm gonna go over the Medallion architecture in Microsoft Fabric. I'm gonna also go uh, over Fabric components and to introduce you to the new feature. Fabric, some parts of Fabric is now GA, which means it's available for everyone. But we have a release plan. We have updates on a daily basis. I'm gonna share the links at the end of this presentation where you can find all the updates for Fabric Notes. So let's start. 1 minute. So this is basically the architecture that is written in Microsoft Fabric documentation. What is Microsoft Fabric? Microsoft Fabric is a new unified data analytics platform from Microsoft that's bringing together a range of data technologies, and some of them are already available in the Azure universe, and it brings everything under one umbrella. This integration provides multiple advantages like a range such as a range of deeply integrated analytics in the industry, shared experiences across services that are familiar and easy to learn. And also, developers can easily access and reuse all the assets. We also have a unified data lake that I'm going to elaborate on it in the next slide, which is a huge advantage of Microsoft Fabric. And we have also governance across all the experiences. So basically, each component, it's called experience. So what is Microsoft One Lake? Microsoft One Lake is a single unified logical data lake for the whole organization. It comes automatically with every Microsoft Fabric tenant with no infrastructure to manage, and it is based or built over Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2. It offers software as a service SaaS platform, and it's also designed for both professional and citizen developers. It also simplifies user experience by hiding infrastructure complexities, and customers don't need, or users don't need, to grasp concepts like resource groups or Azure Resource Manager, redundancy, or regions. So it comes automatically with your tenant. And all data saved as delta files, which is a huge advantage. You can do time traveling, and it was GA on November. Check the updates on the link. And we also have V-order optimization. So V-order optimization is basically it optimizes all the Parquet files to enable fast reads under the Microsoft Compute engines, such as Power BI, SQL, Spark, and others. And warehouse queries in general benefit from faster read times with this optimization, and it's still ensuring the Parquet files are 100% compliant to their open source specification. And all data ingested into Fabric warehouses, it uses V-order optimization. So in a workspace, you have a warehouse, which is based on SQL data, but behind the scenes, it's Delta files. And you also have Lakehouse, and you can read from other workspaces Lakehouse. So the biggest advantage here is that you don't need to copy data from workspace to another just to use it. And you can also add a shortcut to your existing storage account. I'm going to elaborate on it in the demo. So what is Fabric Components? Fabric Components are basically Power BI, Data Factory, Data Engineering, Data Science, Data Warehouse, and Real-Time Analytics. Power BI is basically dashboards, reports. Data Factory it's similar to Azure Data Factory, but it's not Azure Data Factory. It's an experience called Data Factory, and it's important to differentiate between Azure Data Factory and Data Factory component in Fabric. So here you have data pipelines. We have data flow Gen 2, which is different also from data flows that is available in Data Factory, which is Gen 1. It's called Gen 1 right now. And we have over 100 data connectors, so you can move your data from multiple sources to Fabric One Lake or to ADLS, depends on your target storage account. We have also Synapse Data Engineering, which has the similar components to Azure Synapse Analytics. We have notebooks, we have pipelines, we have um, dashboards, and so on. We have also data science for machine learning operations. We have data warehouse, which is SQL data. Okay, so you can store your data as a data warehouse. You don't have to use data lake. And we have also real-time analytics, which has components כמו KQL database, event stream, and much more. So going into the Medallion architecture, what is Medallion architecture? It's basically a concept that the organization or the teams should adopt in order to guarantee a clean ETL through your storage account. So we have source data, then we have mainly three layers, which is raw, validated, and enriched, and you can name it also as bronze, silver, and gold. And after the final stage, which is the gold layer, you can use this data to get a better insights of your data and build dashboards or report, or even connect to a third-party service which can use this data. And by the way, it's not a fixed number. Like, you can add one more layer, which you can name it platinum layer or whatever you want. I wanted to mention that it's not a fixed number. So in the bronze layer, we have the initial layer of the Medallion architecture. It's basically the initial loading of the data, and it serves as the landing zone for all data types, such as structured, semi-structured, or unstructured data. And data is stored in its original format without any alternations. We have the silver layer, where data can be validated and you can do refinement to your data. And And you can also do simple transformations like filtering, aggregations, and so on. And it serves as a central repo for consistent data storage accessible by multiple teams. And data in the silver layer is cleaned and prepared for further refinement and modeling in the gold layer. So in the gold layer of the Medallion architecture, data don't need extra refinement. We mainly do enrichment, okay? Which means like you can add date granularity, you can add, certain columns that you want to use in your dashboards and basically enrich it, okay? And data is prepared for use by downstream teams such as analytics, data science, or ML operations. To move data across Fabric, you might wanna take some few things into consideration when deciding how to move and transform data across layers, like how much data are you working with, how complex are the transformations that you need to make, and how often you need to move data between layers, and what tools are you most comfortable with. So basically, the last question depends on your team skills. So to transform data in Fabric, we have two options. We have Data Flows Gen 2, which is built on the top of Power BI. So it's mainly, it's similar to Power BI reports. So it's great option for smaller data sets or simple transformations. This is a great also for teams who don't have the skills of coding. And we have also notebooks, which is for large data sets and more complex transformations. It also allows you to serve your transformed data as managed delta table in the lakehouse and ready for reporting. So this is notebooks is more flexible for teams who has developing skill. And for data orchestration, we have data factory pipelines, and which is basically a steps of things that you can move data from one place to another. In this case, from one layer of the Medallion architecture to the next. And pipelines can be automated to run on a schedule or triggered by event. So to secure your lakehouse, you need to set permissions at the workspace or item level. And the recommendation also is to store different layers of your lakehouse in separate workspaces to improve security and efficient capacity management. But in today's demo, I built the 3 layers in one workspace. But Microsoft recommendation is one lakehouse for in the Medallion architecture per workspace. So to secure your lake house, we have different recommendations for each layer. Like for the gold layer, you need to restrict access for read-only purposes, because we basically made all the changes that we need to do for the data. You don't want anyone to miss or update or do something with your data. So just make it read-only permissions. We have silver layer permissions, which is decide whether users will be allowed to build upon the silver layer, balancing flexibility and security. And for bronze layer access control, you can also do it as read-only purposes, emphasizing the importance of minimal permissions. So you don't want people to mess with your raw data, because that means that all your flow will have wrong data, and you will end up with bad results. So tables in Fabric, we have 3 types of tables. We have fact tables, which contain quantitative data that are commonly generated in a transactional system and then loaded into the data warehouse. For example, retail business generates sales transactions every day, and then it loads the data into a data warehouse fact tables for analysis. So basically, it's frequently accessed or updated. We have dimensions table, which is infrequently, it has data that changes infrequently. For example, a customer's name, address, and are stored in a dimension table and updated only when the customer profile changes. And to minimize the size of a large fact table, the customer's name and address don't need to be in every row in the fact table. Instead, the fact table and the dimension table can share a customer ID, and based on the ID, you can do the joins and to extract the whole information that you need for this specific customer. We also have integration tables, which provides a place for integrating or staging data. For example, you can load data to a staging table, perform transformations on the data in staging, and then insert the data into the production table. And something that is really, really important to emphasize is that we don't have a way to mark tables by its kind. So we do it as a logical concept in Fabric, and you can read more about it in Fabric documentation. So now let's go to the demo part. 1 minute, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, 1 minute, I'm opening the demo. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Solly.
Okay, so before we start, I just want to say that starting from today, or I think from January 11th, we have an exam that is called DP600. I'm gonna share the link also in the chat. And basically, you can get certified for analytics solutions in Fabric, and it's beta, so you can register and get this certification for Microsoft Fabric. Another link that I'm gonna send is basically implementing Medallion architecture in Fabric. I sent you Microsoft documentation. And the third link that I'm gonna share is basically the roadmap, which has all the updates or the releases that we have for Fabric. So to access Fabric, you can just type Fabric, okay, app.fabric.microsoft.com. This is basically the UI of Fabric. So on the left side, as you can see, these are basically all the experiences that I mentioned in my slides. And to move from one experience to another, you just click on it and you can see different experiences like data science, Synapse data engineering, and so on, okay? And in your workspace, we have lineage view, so you can see each resource, where is it connected, and just checking what is connected to what. Like in my Lakehouse, I have multiple pipelines, I have notebooks, I also have SQL Analytics endpoint, and so on. So let's start with the demo. So in my sales, I created a sales lakehouse, and I have a bronze folder, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can just do it in any format that you want. I have CSV files. I have 3 that contains product and sales data, like sales order, date, name, mail, and the price. And to transform the raw data from bronze to silver, I created a notebook. Okay. So this is my notebook. This is how you can open it from the Synapse Data Engineering. You can create a notebook. I'm gonna navigate from this link. Okay, can you see, like here you can click on notebook. It should create for you a notebook. Okay. It should take 1 minute. And by the way, the session in Synapse Notebooks, it starts in 3 seconds, so it's super fast. You can run all the cells here. You can choose the language that you want to code with, and your environment. You can create a custom environment with your custom Spark version and compute nodes and so on. And here, this is how you can add a code cell, and this is how you run it. So it's pretty similar to the Synapse notebooks. All right, so here I created my code is in PySpark. Okay, so here I created a schema for the table. I have sales order number, email, item quantity, and so on. And to import all the files from my lakehouse, I use a star. Okay, that means bring all the CSV files under this path, which is under the bronze folder. And I also specified that the format will be CSV. And when I click on the output, I can see my CSV. So this is mainly my raw data. Now, I need to add columns, okay, just to modify the data. So I created a file name column. I added my file name. I created a flag is flagged that based on a specific condition, when the order date is smaller than a specific value, it's true. Otherwise, it's false. And I also created two columns, which is created timestamp and modified timestamp. And here I'm removing null columns, and when it's empty or null, a customer name should be unknown. So I'm gonna write unknown in case it's null or empty. And here is it, my data. When I click on display, I can see is flagged. I can see the columns that I created, file name, and so on. And customer name, as you can see, we don't have any nulls. So here I'm also defining the schema for the sales silver table. I'm gonna write my CSV data as a table, and here I'm adding all the columns. I'm specifying data types, like if it's string or float or whatever. And here I'm gonna write. So now to write it down, I'm using the merge command, okay? And the data frame of updates, I'm writing it as updates. So instead of writing df updates, I'm just gonna go with updates dot sales order number or so on. And here I'm adding my values to my table. Now, if I create a SQL statement in Spark and say select all from sales silver limit 1000, just to see if I managed to write something, I can see that command executed successfully, and I can see my data in my sales silver table. Now we moved data from bronze to silver. Now we need to enrich data, which means from silver to gold. I'm gonna open my, I think this one. Yeah. I'm not gonna go over everything, but I'm just gonna explain briefly what I did. So here I'm creating date dimension table. I'm adding the granularity of the date, like I'm extracting month, day, year, and so on. I'm executing it, and then I'm gonna drop duplicates, and I'm gonna extract using the functions from SQL function. Like these functions are built-in functions, okay? And I'm extracting the relevant values from my data frame. And here I can see when I executed my command, display 10 values from my new data frame, I can see that I have a day, month, year, and different writing for my date. And again, for updating my dimension table, I'm using the merge. And basically, I'm writing from my data frame, and then I'm updating the values here, which is I'm extracting from my data frame my values. And if I click on select, I should see also everything from dimension customer dim date, basically. And here, same for the other dimension tables. And as we discussed, dimension tables um, has data that is unfrequently changed. Cannot connect. Making it without a server connection. My user account. Okay, I can't add one more cell, but anyways, I have the dimension tables, I have the fact table, and I have the silver layer table. So basically, this is how you can do everything under one workspace. And again, Microsoft recommendation is basically to do per workspace, a layer per workspace. So that's it. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I think I'm done with the demo.
Perfect.
Thank you, Solly. Thank you,
Thank you so
Solly.
much.
So exciting. And we had the two questions in the chat. I ask you,
Okay.
and after that, any people want to enable microphone, raise hand. We can enable the microphone to ask this question. One question about that. How we find about the sign up, the Fabric. Sasan asked, is it possible to access to Fabric with organization email? I couldn't sign up with personal email.
Oh, I don't know that. He needs to check with his company if they have a workspace or if they have a tenant. Basically, if they have a tenant, he should be get access in a default way with his email that is for his organization, not his personal mail. He can't access
Mhm,
the organization workspace with his private email.
mhm,
So just let the people check with the tenant access if he has access for the tenant.
mhm. Thank you. Next question about how different is data flow Gen 2 from the data flows in Azure Data Factory?
So in Azure Data Factory, this is Data Flow Gen 2. Hope you can, oh, you can see my screen. 1 minute.
Yeah.
Gonna take 1 minute to open.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna try with the documentation. So basically, it's not like Data Flow Gen 1. These are the differences. You can go over this, and it's more similar to Power BI commands, and it's for minor transformations. So it's not really for. It looks like this. So it's like a report. Okay. So in Data Flow Gen 1, which is what we have in Azure Data Factory, we have a source, we have a target, a sink, and we have multiple activities between source and sink, and you can do transformations. But here it's built in a different UI, and it has a lot of features that is not available in Data Flow Gen 1, and it's a bit different. So I recommend you to go over the link.
Mhm. Nice. Thank you.
Perfect.
And the next question, in Delta table, how merge command manage duplicate?
In my ETL, I removed duplicates before doing the merge. So in my data frame, I loaded all the data into a data frame. Then I dropped duplicates, and then I wrote my data into my lakehouse.
Thank you. Is there any question, Said?
No,
I
not
think it's
yet. But as we mentioned, you can ask your questions, and basically we
Sasan.
can open the mic. Yeah, we have Sasan here.
Sasan, you can enable your microphone.
Hi, Sally. Thank you for
Hello.
amazing content that you shared
Thank
with
you.
us. Regarding the question I had for sign up, I didn't mean actually the shared workspace of my organization. I mean, can I actually have an access to Fabric or Power BI with my personal account to just play with it and see what can I do it, get familiar with it,
I
and
think we have a free trial, which is limited per days. I'm not sure how much is it, but you can try with a free trial from Microsoft.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think there is
sure how
30
many.
days trial for
60,
Microsoft
but
Fabric.
actually
I've
it
tried it
asked
before.
me for not personal account, the free trial.
Yeah, from your Oh, I'm not sure if it's, I'm not sure. I'm gonna send you the link that is from Microsoft documentation.
I appreciate it.
Um, all right, and you can also, yeah, I think we have a free trial. Um, I'm not sure. Just go over the link. You should find the relevant information.
Thank you for that.
And I
And
also
another
recommend,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. The other question that I had is from your own experience, in what level of proficiency for data science and data analytics we should be to be able to, I mean, do stuff, regular stuff, and just extracting data. I'm familiar with some basic, I have the basic knowledge of machine learning, neural networks, and models, but I'm not proficient at, I'm developer, I'm not proficient in data analysis, but can I use, in what level of knowledge I need to be able to work with it?
Well, it depends on your use case. I can't just determine like that. But you know, the advantage of Fabric is that it has all services integrated together under one umbrella. Like if you need to move from on-premise sources to data lake, you can do it via Fabric. If you need ETL, you can do it with Fabric. If you have machine learning operations, you can integrate automatically with Fabric. So instead of having 4 or 5 services to accomplish your use case, you need right now you need one service and it has everything. So this is the biggest advantage, and also something important to keep on your mind is that one lake is really huge benefit for organization, because imagine working with different teams. Like if a team needs to access someone's or another team's data, you don't need to move it to your own workspace and dealing now with data movement. You just have access via one lake and that's it. So this is the biggest advantage. And I forgot what I wanted to say. So it really depends on your use case. And my recommendation is to go over Microsoft Learn labs, because you will get a better insights of Fabric components. And then you can try simple demo to see if it works for you.
Thank you so much for your
Thank
insight.
you.
Amazing. We have another question, Solly, and it's if I do incremental data table, how to make sure that new data not already exist?
Oh, so he means CDC, change data
Yes,
capture, right?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess
So
so.
yeah, so in Fabric, it's not really published right now, CDC, but they are working on it. We have something called mirroring, which will be available. It's available right now for preview for specific data sources like Azure SQL Database. I'm gonna also share the link, Cosmos DB. Mirroring. So what mirroring is basically we have the initial loading. 1 minute. Um, First of all, you can implement native CDC, which means via the copy activity. If you have created, if your data is SQL, okay, and you have created column and modified a timestamp, you can just do initial loading, and then based on the modified column, you will move the delta columns, which means the new records that has been updated to your SQL source. This is one option. The second option is to use mirroring. Right now, mirroring is available for Azure SQL DB, Cosmos, and I'm not sure what else. You just check the documentation, but it should be available in the future for SQL Server. So it's like it mimics real time. Okay, so each time you have a new record ingested to your database, it will be automatically moved to your data lake. So you don't have to worry about CDC. Um, and again, it's not if it's not available for your data source, try native CDC.
Perfect, perfect. Uh, there is another question. Is it possible to share read access to a container in active Azure Data Factory, but not, but only limit the access only on some subfolders? Is it the same as in generation 2?
So one lake is built over ADLS Gen 2, which is Data Lake Gen 2. So if something is available in ADLS Gen 2, then it should be available in One Lake. If it's not available yet, then it should be coming in the roadmap. So it should be coming in the future.
Amazing, amazing. Until we get another question, actually, I have a question from you, Sally. So since you sent us a link from Microsoft Learn, and we are from Microsoft Learn, if someone wants to start about learning about like Service Fabric, data layer, I don't know, data lake, and so on, what is your recommendation to start from the fundamentals from the Microsoft Learn way?
I would recommend this. So this is basically the exam for Microsoft Fabric. And below the exam, we have items in this collection. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry, I keep on forgetting.
No worries.
So basically, this is the link, okay? And below, after you schedule or before, okay, we have these work items, which is learning path. When you click on it, you can, go over each learning path, and basically, you will cover all the components of Fabric. So this is
Amazing.
my recommendation to go with it with this. And also, we have Tech Community. And many people from Microsoft publish blogs there. I also publish their blogs. 1 minute. I can't find my screen. Okay. So also to follow blogs that is written in the tech community, and also we have Fabric blogs. Microsoft Fabric blog, and we have a lot of demos, a lot of people writing about specific use cases. So, but the recommendation is to start from Microsoft Learn, or because there you can go over all the components in a clean way, and then you can build over it stuff via the tech community or Microsoft Fabric blog.
Amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, about the learning path regarding for Microsoft Fabric, I know, for example, a learning path for Azure, you can have some type of sandbox in the Microsoft learning path. How about Microsoft Fabric? Is it possible to have kind of sandbox to test the environment, or basically we need to have a workspace for that?
I created a few labs and I didn't really find sandbox, so I'm not sure if it will come in the future. But from the learning path that I went over it, I didn't really see sandbox.
Okay, amazing. Yeah. So is there any questions, Mohsen, or if there
No, thank
is
you.
anyone that they want to talk?
No, I don't think so. Any question? And if there isn't any question, we can end the session.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything, Sally, that you would like to add?
Yeah, I think Fabric now is still people are still working on it, so we have enhancement on a daily basis. So just check the roadmap to see enhancements, and I'm sure you will it will be beneficial for you and for your organization.
Exactly.
And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
thank you
Thank you.
so
Thank you.
much for your great presentation.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. And I think it's really important. Doesn't matter if you are enterprise company or SMB, doesn't matter. You need to work and learn about Microsoft Fabric. You can have a lot of good things, and you can use this service for different scenarios. So try to test it and then learn about Microsoft Fabric in Microsoft Learning Path, and then enjoy it.
And yes, I think it's Microsoft Fabric. It's next generation of data solution. It's very important for future. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good
everyone,
night.
joining
Bye-bye.
us.
Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.